Ace's legacy in every detail.
Weathering begins by applying a thin coat of matte lucky varnish. The first signs of wear are created on the aircraft using panel line wash medium gray. The brush is loaded with the product and applied to the panel lines where it will spread by capillary action. This technique ensures that the wash gets into the recesses of the rivets and all the details of the aircraft. The same process is repeated over the entire fuselage of the aircraft, including the yellow areas. This will unify the appearance of the entire model. While waiting for the previous step to dry, the lower surfaces of the aircraft receive a wash of panel line wash dark sea blue. All of the panel lines receive a wash, just like the upper surfaces. The yellow areas also receive a wash to unify all surfaces. Watch how the panel line wash enters the recesses and immediately adds depth to the rivets and the exceptional surface detail of this magnificent model. The nose of the aircraft also receives a wash and is set aside to dry for about 20 minutes. The wash will dry to an opaque, dirty, and very matte appearance. This means that the panel line wash is dry and ready for the excess to be removed little by little. Using a paper towel, the surface is gently rubbed to remove the excess panel line wash, leaving the effect in the recesses only. These simple steps immediately highlight all the details of the aircraft and leave a uniform patina across the fuselage that creates a cohesive finish and makes it quite attractive and realistic. It is very important that the paper towel, sponge, or cloth used for cleaning is dry without using thinner. For the rest of the effects on the aircraft, we will use lock and load. With the color faded yellow, work begins on the light color of the camouflage. It is applied to each of the panels between the rivets, without applying too much force. Once a thin layer of color has been applied, rub the surface with a finger or a cotton swab to blend the hard lines. The process can be repeated as many times as necessary, depending on the intensity you would like for each effect. Notice how the base tone is improved and a worn paint effect created quickly and easily. To create chromatic richness, you can alternate between colors. In this example, white and faded yellow are used. You can alternate the lighter tones to create a natural worn effect, caused by weathering of the paint. Leaks and staining are applied on the wings using black. Vertical stripes with very soft strokes and alternate horizontal strokes on some areas of the panels. The effect is then blended and the excess removed with a cotton swab or finger. The color olive drab is used to work on the dark color of the camouflage. With the matte surface, working with lock and load is much easier, as the pigment sets and does not slide as it would on a satin surface. With the silver color, chips are simply drawn in the areas where ground personnel maintain the aircraft and pilots walk. With a sharp tip, you can easily make small scratches and scuffing that quickly add a very natural and realistic look. It is very important to control this effect so that the chips are subtle and very precise. To imitate grease and fuel which traps dirt, the grime colored tip is used. For this effect, we moisten just the tip to achieve a softer stroke. The effect is allowed to dry for approximately 10 minutes before working the stain lengthwise using a brush moistened with water. The effect is gradually blended or defined until achieving the desired appearance. Logical areas are left with fuel accumulation, while in others the effect is blended, making the overall appearance as realistic as possible. Using the same grime color, the same steps are repeated on the flaps, imitating dirt produced by oil and carried towards the trailing edge by airflow. Using the color black, dirt is imitated in the areas between the landing gear wells and the machine gun shell ejection ports. Once again, a brush is used to soften and blend the color until achieving the desired effect. The application can be extended as much as required for any effect, and even made much more defined in specific areas by tracing the effect with the same color. In this particular case, the effect is adjusted directly in the center, as this is the dirtiest area. Using lock and load, you can define the staining and dirt effects as many times as necessary, or remove them completely. On the upper area, the staining on the weaponry is created using black, slightly moistened with water. The same simple process of blending and adjusting the stains is used. Continuing with the propeller, very fine chips are created on the hub with olive drab. This color of chipping is alternated with silver to give a realistic worn look to this part of the plane. The same steps are taken with each of the blades, while always keeping the effect random. Finally, the engine's exhaust stains are added using a very damp black pencil. Using a brush moistened with water, the effect is adjusted and blended, giving it the curved shape created by the flow of air. With the white color, fuel stains are created. Continuing with the brush, the two colors are gradually blended together while leaving traces of white. Once dry, these quick, easy, and thoroughly enjoyable steps create a highly realistic effect. Next, the masking is removed from the transparent parts. The propeller is then positioned and fixed in place with instant dry cement. Finally, the sliding canopy is set in place. Find the Ace's Legacy FW190A5 Standard Edition, available in our store at www.ammo.es. Discover many more videos on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate notifications. Thank you for watching.